And so why I got interested in that sexual play is that so there's a that play has a I don't know whether you can understand this feeling, but actually that sexual play has a feature of has a feature of so exciting, not exciting, but stimulating or goading, how should I say, goading, or encouraging is not, it's not a suitable word, but actually the meaning is it's quite close to quite close. And so if you use encouraging or so arousing a feeling of the sentiment against decent morality or decent escalance is one of the features of that sexual play. And if you have got a question about which sexual play I'm talking about, and that is a usual sounding, or so this the names are varied, which means some people would call that sexual play, for example usual play or p-hole plays, or some people may say some people may call that sexual play. So usual torture or usual stretching or p-hole stretching or p-hole torture, such a thing. Such a play is what I'm going to talk about. Such a play is so of course such a play is what I'm going to talk about. But actually, so in this episode I'd like to advertise a content, or in this episode what I'd like to do is to advertise a written document or a written online document I have recently created, and so which is to describe how to do usual sounding, and why I said to do which is to do, or which is not which is doing, but which is to do. Which is to describe how to do usual sounding is, so I have not uploaded that article to the Medium, so which means so I'm going to upload the article, or I'm going to upload the content about describing how to do usual sounding into Medium anyway. And so, which means this time I'd like to talk about stuff about usual sounding is what I'm going to talk about anyway. And wait a moment, please. I should tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. And the title is How to do usual sounding, usual stretch, usual torture. Why I wrote these words is for search engine optimization, which means so some people would use usual sounding, but actually sounding is not I didn't expect the word sounding would be popular, would be familiar to many people, which means so some people would find for example other words popular to themselves. For example some people would call usual stretching for instead of usual sounding. Some people would call that sexual play usual stretch or usual stretching, or in other case I mean usual torture, which I think usual torture can be more popular than those words usual sounding, which is why so I wrote these names point or indicating the same sexual play. And with a list of recommendable stuff to insert. So when it comes to torture, torture would naturally include the pains or suffering given or inflicted onto masochistic boys or masochistic men through their penises anyway. And but actually, so anyway, so usual sounding and usual stretch would incorporate a kind of sexual pleasure given by doing stuff against decent or no standard moralities, or that usual sounding has has a sensation of of being I guess usual escalcence, such a thing is what such a sensation is what urethral sounding what's the sexual play urethral sounding has, which is what I think. And so to start with, urethra or pee hole is equipped for extracting or putting putting out foreign stuff in the form of urination, or in the form of pee, or in the form of urination or urine actually. And but actually, so in the case of urethral sounding, so in that sexual play, so a foreign stuff is inserted into the urethra or into the urethras of those, for example, typical examples of those masochistic boys or masochistic men. So their penises are inserted with something taking forms of sticks, for example. Anyway, and such a play is urethral sounding, and I'm going to write a writing which is I have created a content about how to do urethral sounding. Pee hole or urethra is a gate to a wonderland, which is what I think, and why I became a captive, or why I became attracted by the sexual play is that I read a porn novel. Well, I read not a porn novel, but I read some porn novels, and through a website created by how should I say, created by a comrade or a person having the similar sexual taste, or the similar sexual predilection, and so which means that person had created works dealing with sadistic ladies or sadistic girls who sexually torture, or who sexually play masochistic boys or masochistic men. So that is a sexual taste, or that is a sexual predilection or sexual predisposition of the creator of that website, and that website had works, which means that website had porn novels, and I read some of them, and among which some porn novels introduced the sexual play called or named urethral sounding, and I'm thinking of introducing some works, and so if you'd like to start with, if you get interested in the works of that person, so maybe actually I think the creator is he, not she. I think this is my speculation, but actually, so if you get interested in his works or her works perhaps, and so please take a look at the description column of this episode, so that I'm going to write a link of the website. Of the website, yeah. So which is why you can access that website through the description column of my episode. And I have introduced his or her website in Japanese in another content different from this podcast. But actually, so in the case of that Japanese content, so I wrote a written article. I wrote a content online. And so and accompanying which, so I created a video for YouTube anyway. So for YouTube, or to upload to YouTube, I mean. And so, but actually, so this is so why I decided to create this content, or this episode in English, is that I wanted to how should I say, I wanted to, spread. I wanted to tell you why I got interested in, so, that sexual play, urethral sounding, and anyway, so, describing is easy, but actually, so, I should, introduce some of his or her works, and one of which is, so I introduced, no, I added, well, I wrote the translations of the titles. Anyway, so the first one I'd like to introduce is The Encounter of Ellipse, which means, so, so using my mother tongue, the name of that article is, or the name of that poem novel is Dae no Kaiko, and translating which, so the English title has become, or I wrote an English title which is The Encounter of Ellipse, which means, so, I translated that Japanese language into English language, and in which, so there is a scene of urethral sounding, which means, so, the main protagonist is a high school girl, and she inserted her the small finger of her right arm into the penis of a male creature. And anyway, so, if she was consulted by from her peer who had a trouble with the teacher, and so, the meaning is the teacher forced that peer to date anyway. So, that teacher was a bad teacher, and so that male bad teacher forced that girl to date himself, and in turn he would give her a better grade, which is a coercion, which is a threat against that girl, and that victimized girl consulted another girl, which is who is the main protagonist I have just told you, and the name of that main protagonist is Keiko, and she's a high school girl, and she tortured his urethra instead of her friend, and which is why, and so that anyways finally, so the teacher was fired, or the teacher was punished by the superiors, maybe. And if you get interested in or if you to start with, so not to start with, if you have some knowledge about Japanese language, so I recommend that you try that work. And so another condition is that you should be interested in the sexual play or urethral sounding. And another maybe I should go to another work, which is, wait a moment please, which is the White Fingers. The White Fingers is another work, and this also has a scene of urethral torture. And wait a moment please, that has a, yeah. So in this case, so the main protagonist is a married man, and the sadistic woman is a nurse, and she and once the man went to a hospital in which so he took an investigation about the semen of himself, and so and in the process of medical investigation, and so maybe a beautiful nurse extracted his semen by her hand job skill, and which is of course this is an imaginary situation, which means so I don't think there is such an medical treatment nor medical investigation realized in real hospitals in my country. And but actually so that scene of extraction of his semen by her own fingers is an imaginary treatment, and after which, so he got cap he became a captive, or he got captured, or he got addicted by her skill of hand job, by her skill of hand job anyway. And she not invited, so she that nurse asked him, or asked the guy, that masochistic guy, to participate in a medical training in which, so younger nurses took trainings, and that nurse, or who did a hand job for the guy, taught how to extract semen from men. And so in the process of that training, so there's a scene in which, so catheter or cord was inserted into his penis, and which is how he got, so his semen got extracted completely out of his own body, or out of his testicles, which is the scene of urethral sounding in the case of that porn novel, The White Fingers. The name of that porn novel is White Fingers. And these two porn novels are what I'd like to recommend to you anyway. So which is why, so I recommend you're reading those two porn novels if you have some knowledge of Japanese language. And using online translating application is fine. For example, Google Translation is one of the ways to understand what is written in those two porn novels. And the author is the creator of that porn novel, I think. Not porn. The author is the creator of that website, I think. And anyway, so I recommend those two porn novels. And this time, I should tell you parts of the written article I created this time. Maybe that's better for you. And how should I say? And I wrote how many chapters? I wrote six sections, or six chapters, or six huge parts. And the first one is back, and the first one has no title and introduction, and the next chapter, or the next section, is background, and the third one is outline, and the fourth one is method, and the method is numbered 3, and the caution is 4, but actually this is the fifth section, and the sixth section is list of recommendable stuff to insert. Anyway, so I have created some compositions related to describing so urethral soundings, but so in this case, so I gathered them, and I compiled them into an article, which is how I created this online article this time. And anyway, I'm going to end this episode, and the title is, wait a moment please, the title of this episode is, so how to do urethral sounding, urethral stretch, urethral torture with a list of recommendable stuff to insert. And I have created a content about how to do urethral sounding. This is a writing, or you can read on the description column of this episode. And p-hole, or urethra is a gate to a wonderland. And I'm going to write the links of the website I introduced this time, and including the web page of Medium I'm going to upload later. I'm going to upload days after. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you.